Good morning. Welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. I'm right here. Just let me set up the camera a little bit and then we're going to get started in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. This is, the self-therapeutic multimedia project that involves many little sub-series, including inventory management, some sort of item catalog database that covers everything that comes in. What comes in must come out. Another sub-series as well, in addition to that, is the 1000 days till death. So 1KD, if I had only 100 hours left, or if you had only 100 hours left, how would you spend those moments to satisfaction? What are 3 most important things you could do within that time frame? And I'm applying that to the same situation that I'm facing right now, which is about 1000 days until I drop dead at the age of 30. That is what I'm facing as a part of that sub-series. So those are 2 main sub-series, and the one we're focusing on today is item catalog. What you see is what you get in the title, wherever you're from. Welcome if you're from Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, yada yada. Doesn't matter where, you're always welcome. But here today on these platforms, what I have to cover are basically, as you see in the title, some roses here. And they're not real roses, but they are. Oh, that makes it sound like clickbait, huh? No, these are just talk about roses. So, but they are roses. We also have some thing I call cursed tapestry. It's just a little play on words. It's not actually cursed. These are just papers that I actually want to show, and they have a lot of messages that are extremely negative that I've written down in order to almost solve certain mindsets that I've had for the past 4 months to about 2 years. And so we're going to cover all of that today. I will quickly mention, of course, that if you are familiar with this, the introduction, you can always skip about 5 minutes in if you're watching this on replay. Otherwise, you can just tune in right now and just enjoy the ride. We have 2 live streams, of course. This is the first live stream. I mentioned the roses here, and it says even section section A7, I believe. I'm not sure. You can check the title. But that means that that's a portion of my room that I'm renting out that has all these items here today. Now the second live stream today, which will be immediately after this one ends, it's going to cover the stuff in this knapsack that I said we're going to start covering and that we started as of a couple of days ago. So without further ado, let's just deep dive into what we have here today. And I'm very fortunate to be able to cover these roses and these pieces of paper today, as well as some food. You see some photographs on the side. But I will only be able to get to these items because yesterday I actually didn't make any purchases, and that's been very helpful. I didn't have any food to cover, any grocery items to cover, and so that's freed up my time to be able to cover these things. So what do we have in section A7? All right, we have, right here, 1, 2. These are 2 packages of roses, just paper crafted roses that you can buy from the dollar store. That's where I purchased it from. You can see Dollarama. That's a Canadian brand dollar store that's pretty much gone nationwide. And so just for $1.25, so $1.25 plus tax, I got these sort of little roses here, about 12. It's like 12 of them. It says paper flowers, and there's this pink red going down. And I don't really know exactly how I'm going to make use of it, but because my brand and my channel, if you haven't been able to tell, the main colors, the main themes are this kind of deeper burgundy wine red. Sort of roses kind of fit into that aesthetic very well. I decided to keep these and make these purchases when I was passing by a dollar store. At the back, these are just says some stuff like how it's a choking hazard as well as it's made from China. You can see that the roses here also have these sort of wires that are painted in green. So obviously it's a very easy for you to snap on. Now I don't know how I'm going to do this, whether it's going to be a way for me to put on a suit, put on my clothing. Maybe it's something that I can do every time I enter, every time I start a live stream, I can just pin this on me. And that's kind of a tacit validation. Not validated, like just a tacit way of putting some effort towards a very small costume of sorts. It's sort of like I put on a different persona when I enter these live streams and become something that I have always strived to be, and I'm still working towards that. So we have these roses, and we have a larger package here. That one has 12, this one has 9, and these are just a little bit larger size. But I'm pretty sure they're the same brand. It says Craft brand. They both say Craft brand, and these are just larger roses. And again, strung together with some wires. So these are on the table. The main point of covering this is so that actually today, if you see in the title stream, it does say section A7, right? I mentioned, and that's actually the table, the desk. If you look at my previous logistic reviews of my room, that's basically like an engineer going through the floor plan of an entire building. And that's basically what I did for my entire household unit that I'm renting out for about $450 per month. And so the section that is designated A7 is basically the table. And so that's not mine, it's a class 2 item. But these things are class 1 items. I made these purchases myself. It's just a couple of things for about a few bucks. And they've been sitting on the table cluttering my desk. So what else has been cluttering my desk that I need to cover? I should mention, of course, there's maybe about 20 parts here, but these are 2 whole items with 20 parts, give or take. You know, we have 9 plus 12 plus the packaging. That's roughly about like 23 parts or so. We have the pieces of paper I mentioned, right? So why don't we get to that? It says cursed tapestry. Now, what the hell do I mean by cursed tapestry? They're not actually cursed items, you know, it's just me and my inability to manage my job at the workplace. I had a really rough time for the past 2.5 years because I actually developed a bit of anxiety. It was kind of strange. I've never experienced anxiety to the point that it was crippling. You know, it was just an emotion, but this time became more of a symptom, unfortunately, and it started to wear on me because I was constantly in between 20 different people, and the job itself was very physically demanding. So it was the worst of a warehouse heavy lifting job combined with a sort of administrative job combined with customer service, because they bring me all sorts of their arguments and they're supposed to be arguing with each other. But long story short, that's still my responsibility and I couldn't manage it. And so for the past about 6 months ago, I had this really bad streak where I was incredibly I was trying to get myself to, first of all, most importantly, stop giving a damn about what other people ask me to do, and make sure that I place my priorities and responsibilities on the role first. And I knew that one of the problems was that I was too nice. I kept just helping people even though they would not return the favor. And so what I did is I wrote down on pieces of paper a whole bunch of different sayings that were basically a collage of sorts of all the thoughts that were inside my mind. So everything that inside my head, I would write it down and summarize into 4 words what a long let's say you have a monologue or a soliloquy, a long, you know, tirade, a 1-hour rant, and you summarize that rant into maybe 3 or 4 proverbs. What would you write down? That's basically what I did. And so I'm going to show to you several different sheets of paper, and of course there's a reason why on YouTube I haven't put my stuff as having content that's made for kids, because this is not made for kids. So I designate it as something that's not made for kids, because some of these things here can be really depressing, and you know, everyone has a bad time, but you know, the good thing is it never lasts, or if it does last, hopefully you take the responsibility to dig yourself out no matter how difficult it is, and it can be extremely challenging. So the first thing I have to show here is face defiantly the inevitable. So there's at least, I think, about 40 sheets of paper here. I'm just going to run through them rapid fire, and I'm going to say that for a fact. What I'm going to do with these is at the end just scan through all of them using my phone, since I can't use the scanner at the library anymore because of COVID-19. So we have here face the inevitable. The next one, and I'm just going to run through them. Okay, we have some standing up here, so vertical and or horizontal as well. So the second one is smile happy amidst despair. So again, very depressing things, and each of these phrases you can write an entire essay on, but I'm not going to explore the depth or meaning into them because obviously I don't think I have the time to do that until later on, maybe 2 years down the road, when I start doing a different series of the Ahn Rho Project, which is focused on abstract principles and life lessons. That would be different. So this one says games and games end meaningless. And most of these things here are things that I don't intend on keeping. I'm just going to scan them and throw them away. Third one here, love is pain. And yeah, again, all of these things are very abstract, very philosophical things, and they're just things that circulate in your mind. You want to get down because you need it at the moment. When you wake up, you need to practice a new mindset because you've taken to extreme one particular set of thinking. And so these are things to counteract my own flaws. You will hurt them. You will hurt them. It's inevitable. It was a way for me to accept. The sixth one, nothing matters. I mean, some of these things are really depressing, I said. Again, that's why I'm throwing them away. They're not useful anymore. 7, best is not enough. My goodness. They will not hurt you. And so clearly I was very hurt at the time. So 9, we have another one here. So these are starting to go vertical. No, they're sideways as well. Remember your purpose. Remember your purpose. 10, I think this is 10, so this is 11. Talk to me. So this one I might have to keep because I'm going to stick this on the wall and remind myself to stay conscious of myself. Once in a while I just lose myself to the impulsiveness, and it's kind of strange because on the live stream right now I seem very self-reflective and self-conscious, almost too self-conscious of myself, right? But given the nature of my job, maybe that's why there's such a big dichotomy, because on the job I'm constantly moving. I'm very physically active. I have to, lift 70 pounds of items sometimes. It's a lot of heavy lifting. And so it's just back-to-back stuff like that. And then when I get home, it's just kind of like all intellectual stuff in my mind. So anyways, this is a blank piece of paper. I think I can use this, so I'm not going to throw that away. Here is practice makes perfect. So this one's definitely more practical. Okay, that's good. What are we at? We're like page 14 now. Watch, listen, and act. Like a lot of these things, even though they have a lot of good monikers, I have no reason to keep. Like I said, I don't need to stare this every day. I wake up in the morning. I used to, but I don't need it anymore. Wary your surroundings. And the reason why I don't need them is because, like I said, I'm going to scan them and then take the information and just put it into, say, an Excel file or a Dropbox notepad file. There's a lot of ways to keep this information, but you don't need something physical that's taking up so much space. I really just wanted to recycle these and throw them away. The next one here says be brief and concise. That one is a big one I have to improve on. Obviously, you can tell by a live stream I'm not being very brief and concise. You have instruction. So this was almost self-recursive in nature. I would stick this on the wall, and this would remind me basically to wake up and then stare at the pieces of paper. So to read them out loud and to listen to what's on the wall. So it was almost like a guidance. Speaking of guidance, guide yourself. Guide yourself. So what are we at? Like page 20 now? Another blank sheet of paper. I can keep that. Look at me. This one was a big one. Like I said, look at me, a piece of paper on the wall saying look at me, so look at the piece of paper, and then one that says talk to me, so look at me, talk to me, and then which leads me to guide yourself, and then leads me to say listen to the instructions, and then that leads to the principles such as practice makes perfect, don't let them hurt you, don't be too kind, and stuff like that. Stand up for yourself, stuff like that. This would be the starter piece of paper. I would write it down, stick it on the wall, and then I would wake up, and then I would see it, and then immediately I'd be, oh yeah, let's just run through everything that we need to remember. So and then 1, 2, 3, 4 look at me's. I was just another one, a fifth piece of paper, look at me. And by the way, the numbers down here are the dates. So for example, this would be 6/3/20, so that means July. It would be June the 3rd of 2020. So that was just 2 months ago. Look at me. 5 times. So we're at page 25 now at least. Remember what matters. Just like remember your purpose. At the very beginning there was a sheet of paper like that. 26 maybe. You forget easily. And this is something I needed to remind myself that no matter what I learn, it can always be forgotten. So things here that I'm writing down, they have to be written down. Otherwise, I won't be able to review the things that I have learned, and that means I'll be going in circles. Another thing here, 27, your mind is weak. This is not a good one to keep, but it was something that I needed to remind myself, at least to some extent. Like I said, I had to acknowledge that I had limitations on how much I could remember and memorize and understand. You can only pay attention to one thing at a time anyway, so that's a big limitation. Let me guide you. Let me guide you. Again, one of those self-recursive instructional pieces of paper stuck on the wall to talk to myself, talk to my past. Youth is precious. So basically, this is a moniker for me to value my time and not spend it stupidly, although I do that all the time. No pun intended. Spend time wisely. Youth is precious, right? Those two go hand in hand. We're at page 30 now, at least. Make no excuses. Don't take the victim mentality mindset. Please don't take the victim mentality mindset. Oh, poor me. Just fosters entitlement, and it's completely useless, because you blame society, you blame other people, and you blame the system, but that means that you also don't acknowledge, unfortunately, you don't take action to acknowledge the things that you need to change about yourself. Well, if you're going to blame everything outside and externalize all your problems, then you're never going to grow up. You're always going to be run over, and that's your problem. So that's something I had to remove from my head, and I still need to work a little bit more on that, a lot more on that still. Put yourself first. This is can be taken in a good way and a bad way, but needless to say, my problem was that I was giving too much of myself to other people. You might be the opposite. You might care too much about yourself, or you might have the same problems and you care too much about other people. You need to find the right balance. For me, I care too much about other people, and I need to care less about them and take care of myself first. And so that was relevant for me. 32, maybe your body is weak. Oh my God, so negative, right? Another one here, we should feel pain. We should feel pain. Now, again, one of those things that, all proverbs are so full of, they're just so vague. There's a lot more nuance to this. Like I said, you can write a whole essay on for and against that. But even feeling pain has its promises, and it's trained you a lot. You do or die, okay? To page 34, 35, you are what you do. You are what you do. And this could not be more true, because in psychology, we always know that attitude influences behavior, which influences attitude. So A affects B, which then affects A. So, whatever you do is what you think, and what you think is what you do. You have to take responsibility for that. It's a very vicious cycle. You can fall into negative depression, a negative spiral very quickly and very easily. There is no understanding. This one I really needed at that time, because I kept trying to resolve the misunderstandings at my workplace with my colleagues that had led to such a catastrophic, it was just so bad. But the fact is, there was no way I could have controlled the environment and controlled what they think. I felt that I was able to, or that I could have at least given it my best shot, but my best was not enough. And oftentimes when you are working a job that's so rigorous, you just have to trust that they understand. If they don't, they don't. Then, don't bat an eye about it. Who cares? You can't control whether or not someone misunderstands your intentions. Do your best, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and you just have to accept that. Unfortunately, I had a really hard time accepting that. I've come to terms with it much better now. You must become stronger. That's for sure. That's just kind of obvious, but I had to remind myself that. We're at page 40 something now. Build own community. Build my own community when I have nobody. Me just growing up having been mostly alone all my life, that's just something that hits home. 40 something, like 42, 43, make your own family. So again, building off of that. So we have about 3 sheets of paper here that seems to be not used, so I'll keep these. Talk to me seems useful. I'll probably keep that, but maybe what I need is a look at me, not talk to me. So what I'm going to do is look for that look at me here, and it's down here somewhere. If I can see it, I'll take it. So look at me. Look at me. I'm going to take that out. talk to me, take that out. But the rest here I'm going to discard and recycle. So maybe about 40 sheets of paper here, written with a Sharpie marker that I got from my workplace. And the papers here are just wax papers reused from my workplace. So about 43 sheets of paper, give or take a few class 4 items that I crafted into this. So with that being said, there's only a few more items left. That was the majority of everything that I had to cover. There's some garbage here. So we have this table desk. Again, just a moniker for me to, maybe I'll keep this, but basically this is a tag for when I was moving to designate what group or what region of items I had. I may or may not keep this. You know what, I'll keep it for the side. I'll figure out something to do with it in the future. But we have this here, and I don't know what this is, but it's probably not very useful. Maybe it's supposed to be something, I believe, at the bottom of the desk, and it probably fell loose or something, I don't know. That's that. And we have some garbage and some food. So we have maybe 4 paper towels. I just have one here and a toothpick. Basically I used this to eat some food that was not mine, which you see in the photograph up there. So that's the last item today. I don't have it physically to show you, but you see that dish on the top left hand corner of the live stream. It's like a dish of salmon, basically spaghetti salmon. I know it's very strange when I say spaghetti sauce and salmon, tomato paste and salmon, but yes, that's what it is. It's from my caregivers. They cooked up something and I ate some today, even though I wasn't supposed to. It's a mix of celery and tomatoes and salmon. So I ate about 3 servings. I ate a lot. I ate like half the dish. So feeling guilty here for eating something I shouldn't have. Anyways, we got 4 pieces of paper towels. This toothpick I used to eat some rice, as well as some of the salmon there, most like half the dish salmon. So maybe about 8 parts of items that belong to my caregivers. So those are class 2 items. But that being said, that's about everything. So about 3 whole items and 8 parts belong to class 2 items for my caregivers. The rest here, the pieces of paper, 43 sheets of paper, give or take plus or minus 5, from my workplace that I crafted myself using a Sharpie marker, also class 4 from my workplace. And then we have these roses here, maybe about 23 parts of items here, but just 2 whole items from that I intend on keeping, that I purchased myself with my own hard-earned money. And these here I probably will keep. You know what, maybe I'll throw this away too. I'll throw this tag away. I don't really need it. It's in the garbage. I'm going to recycle it. So that's that. This is garbage. Move it to the side. We have a second live stream here with this knapsack. We're going to run an overview over it, and then we're going to cover a few items and then finally wrap up for today. So I'll see you in the next live stream. This is the Ahn Rho Project. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in about 60 to 90 seconds, give or take.